What's going on, fellow fantasy basketball lovers? Welcome back to District of Buckets Fantasy Basketball this week. Welcome to all the new subscribers. We about doubled our growth once again last week. If you are new here, which about 85% of you are, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a like, leave a comment. We love to stay in touch with our fans. We got some good stuff coming up for you today, so let's roll the tape. All right. We got to move into the juiciest of the juiciest. It's where we make all our money that we aren't making. Let's talk about waiver wire pickups. I personally have so many waiver wire pickups for you guys this week. We had a commenter get a little heated at us because we didn't mention every single person that should be picked up in a fantasy league, like a 16-team fantasy league. So I went through every single team and found the best ones for you. And I'm probably digging myself a hole because you guys are gonna find another person in like your 24-team league and be like, well, why should I not pick up Shake Milton on the Sixers, who's playing 5 minutes a game now? So let's just set the precedent that we got jobs too, but we are gonna find you guys the best candidates for waiver wire pickups. I'm going to give you the best, but this week I'm giving you so many. So there's no reason to complain this week. I got you guys. Starting off, we got DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins is going to be the best waiver wire pickup. Granted, he's owned in quite a bit of leagues already. But I didn't want to get yelled at again. I didn't want to get in trouble with a commenter saying like, oh, you're not going to talk about DeMarcus Cousins. I'm talking about him. DeMarcus Cousins is going to fill the starting position for Christian Wood while he's out with his right ankle sprain. And who knows how long that's going to be. That could be a couple of weeks. And DeMarcus Cousins has shown that when he does play big minutes for the Rockets and with John Wall, he plays exceptionally well. He's having a great year on offense. He's getting a couple of blocks a game. Not a couple of blocks a game, but he's padding the blocks stat sheet. He's going to be a great candidate and definitely somebody that should be picked up if he's not owned in your league already. He's owned in like 65% of leagues. But I had to mention his name so I didn't get in trouble. One of the next guys on my list, before it's too late, you got two Spurs players that you should have on your watch list, if not on your team. Derek White and Jacob Poeltl. They have been hooping. LaMarcus Aldridge is out, so they're shorthanded. And Derek White is back, and he's feeling it. Jacob Poeltl is playing exceptionally well. He's had a couple 50-point fantasy point performances. Those are guys that you should definitely be looking out for. Moving on, we got Naz Reid. He continues to start while Karl Anthony Towns is out. Him and Anthony Edwards are starting to put it together. That's another waiver wire guy. I'm not going to put up the stats for every single one of these guys because that would take me so incredibly long. But I'm just going to talk about them for a little bit. Naz Reid and Anthony Edwards, those are guys that you should be watching, if not picking up. Naz Reid has been playing really well ever since he came back from his wrist injury when he fell against the Warriors a couple of weeks ago. But Anthony Edwards has also started 5 consecutive games and is starting to put it together on offense. He's showing flashes of why he was the number 1 overall pick. So definitely at least watch list that guy. Another couple of guys that you should be on the lookout for. Daniel Tice. Daniel Tice has been the starter for the Boston Celtics for the last couple of games. They're shorthanded at the moment without Marcus Smart. So he's going to be getting a little bit more touches. And if he's already owned in your league, you should also consider Robert Williams. He's a much more volatile option, especially if you're in a deeper league. That's somebody you should be looking out for. But when he's shown that when he plays like at least 15 minutes, he can put up a 25 to 30 fantasy point game. And he's a prime candidate for blocks too. Dude gets up. He's one of those guys that surprises you with how high he can jump. Moving on, more guys you should be thinking about on the waiver wire. I know Carl just said he's a sell high candidate, but Josh Jackson is a good option for category leagues if you are looking for blocks. I know a lot of people play categories. We play points league, but If you are looking for blocks, Josh Jackson is a good candidate on the short-handed Pistons. They have 4 games coming up this week. Wayne Ellington's out. Blake Griffin seems to sit out every other game. So yeah, look out for Josh Jackson on the waiver wire. Continuing, I got more. Diallo, Hamidou Diallo for the Thunder. What was it?
Hamidou Diallo?
Yeah, Hamidou Diallo. He is hooping for the Thunder right now. The Thunder are a little weird because we've talked about it before. The Thunder do whatever it takes to win each individual game. It's a different man each individual game. Sometimes you think it's going to be Basley. Sometimes you think it's going to be Dort. Sometimes you think it's going to be Diallo. So just keep an eye out on the Thunder. But George Hill is out amongst some other people on the Thunder. So Diallo could be a good option. He's shown that he's been playing really well recently. I think he's playing like 27 minutes per game in the last 5 games or something like that. And putting up numbers to back it up. Continuing, Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent Jr. is balling out in the absence of CJ McCollum on the Portland Trail Blazers. I had him picked up. I streamed him off the waiver wires for the one game that he really, really sucked. And then the rest of the games he played super well. So Gary Trent Jr., I mean, the dude's hitting from 3. If you're in a categories league that needs 3-pointers, 3-point production, Gary Trent Jr. is that guy. Continuing, my final guy. I know it's been long-winded, but it's a guy that I think should win Rookie of the Year if the coach would just play him. Play the man, Emmanuel Quickley, IQ God, floater gang. Oh my God, the guy is so good. He hit 2 step backs in like back-to-back possessions from like 30 feet. It was so beautiful. I love me some Emmanuel Quickley. As a former Knicks fan, I was a Knicks fan because D Rose went there. And as soon as he left, I abandoned the bandwagon.
If he goes back.
Huh?
If he goes back.
I might end up having to be a Knicks fan because I love me some IQ, bro. Anyways, Emmanuel Quickley, he has shown that when he plays 20 minutes, the dude will go for 40. But when he plays 10 minutes and he only gets 4 shots, there's not much he can do. Knicks fans are begging for him to play. It's quite obvious that Obi Toppin was not the candidate that they thought he was going to be right off the bat this year. He's still got some work to do. Opposed to Emmanuel Quickley, who looks so confident and so composed. Like he doesn't hesitate when he doesn't need to. And when there's 5 seconds left on the shot clock and he gets the ball, he's taking his time. He's getting you in his spot. And he's taking a step back 3 or a floater and he's hitting it in your mouth. And I love it. So keep an eye out for Emmanuel Quickley. That's a guy that I think will be starting for the Knicks by the end of the year over Elfrid Payton. They love Elfrid Payton because of his defense, but I don't know. I think you have to put Emmanuel Quickley on the floor with Mitch Robinson and Julius Randle, and that's a dynamic offense. So look for Emmanuel Quickley to be a guy with a super high ceiling, but also one of the lowest floors of the waiver wire pickups that we've talked about. All right. So that was all of my waiver wire pickups. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 waiver wire pickups. I don't want to see any comments about people I missed because Carl's also going to take some guys. So don't get mad at us.
I'm only doing 2. So I'm sticking to my guns. I'm only giving you a couple of what I've been able to look through and actually maybe watch a little bit of the games and research. So I have Justin Holiday. So Justin Holiday, we mentioned, I'm kind of changing some things that I've said about him earlier in past shows, but it's the opportunity that was left when Karis LeVert was traded, and Justin Holiday does a lot of different things on the floor to really help the Pacers out, and just really low ownership right now. He's definitely a guy that's worth speculatively adding to your bench. and seeing how he pans out, at least for the next week. Just to find out if what he's been doing over the past, couple games, couple weeks has been sustainable. I would make a speculative add. I'm not saying he's going to completely turn your roster around, but it's a name that I at least want to have just hammered in my watch list as soon as possible, because it's, again, my big thing is opportunity. And one of the few guys that has as much opportunity as anyone in the league is Justin Holiday. And then the time to go into my next guy. My next guy was Cole Anthony, and it's also adding on to the trend we've had here of opportunity. Is there's so many injuries in Orlando. Seems like every year there's a bunch of injuries in Orlando, and right now Cole Anthony is healthy, knock on wood, and so he's taken over a lot of minutes in that guard spot after Markelle went down, and then you see all the other stars go down. You see Gordon's down. Who else is out? Fournier's out. Yeah. So
and Markelle Fultz. So yeah, you mentioned all of them.
Yeah. So just number one rule is someone, even if it's not quite the same of production, there's just so much there for someone to grab, and Cole Anthony will have the ball in his hands more than most players on the floor. So there's a lot of production for him to go get. And so I would go grab him right now.
Yeah. A lot of opportunity for him. Especially with that rebounding shooting center they got down there. Shout out Vucevic. He's hooping this year. You got to give him his credit when it's due.
Hey, he wasn't an all-star for no reason.
Yeah. He's playing really well. So those are guys that you should pick up, and I will also go into some teams with some fringe guys that you should consider dropping. So these teams only play 3 games this week, and the 3 games they play are against tough opponents. So guys that you should consider removing from your team for other streamers, is the Jazz, the Kings, and the Hawks. They all play 3 games this week against tough opponents. So consider dropping those guys if you need to fill a roster spot.